Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. So, lots of times, as a toy collector, I'll talk to people who aren't toy collectors. And you usually go back and you talk about all the cool things that came out in the 80s and the 90s. And if anybody ever brings up Masters of the Universe, one of the top 10 things, probably top 3 things that anybody will mention is, do you remember those battle damage He-Mans where you push the button on their chest and it'll flip over and you can see the damage spots? Yeah, those were freaking awesome. These guys are great. And, but the problem with Masters of the Universe toys is they haven't held up the best over the years. You get a lot of crotch rot on some of them. Most of these battle damaged figures I have don't even really work anymore. They don't stay in place. This one Skeletor that I do have where the battle damage works, his legs are like flimsy as can be. See that? So luckily for us, Mattel has provided us a brand new option. These awesome brand new Battle Armor He Man and Skeletor action figures. They look great for your own personal collection and they look like great toys you could give your kids. So I'm going to open these guys up and talk about them. But first, let's talk a little bit about the packaging here. Now, He Man here is on the very standard, Red Rock Blasts background. I don't know what you call it. See, the regular carded figures look like this, so it looks like they probably painted out this whole thing and, just kind of cut off the side of it for the regular standard releases. These are deluxe figures. I got these at Target. They were $19.99. And then on the back, you got a nice little picture up the top. And you got all the brand new figures that will be brand new for 2021. That's Skeletor's picture up top. Now, when I open up these toys, I usually try to take an X-Acto knife and cut into the side of the bubble so that I can try to not rip this card so much to ruin the back. And also so I can just have a nice clean-looking front. So I'm going to cut these open, and I'll be right back. With the mighty power of my X-Acto knife, I can cut off the bubble here in a pretty decently clean way. You got some white areas, but I cut along the edge of where it's glued down to the card so that I don't have that pull off, or you're pulling off an extra layer of paper and weakening the card structure. So, right off the bat, I think these guys look pretty cool. I like the detail. They did a nice job of copying the original armor of He Man and Skeletor. My only complaint is that look how they shrunk the size down for the battle area, or the battle damage area. If you look at the original He Man here, his battle damage area takes up his whole chest. See that? You can't get this. No, there we go. So that takes up his whole chest. And why did they shrink it down for this new one? I'm not fond of that because it kind of looks a little goofy. It's not as bad on Skeletor, I don't think. These are kind of hard to roll up too. They're not as easy as the old ones. There we go. Like, it's not as bad for Skeletor, but it's just like, I would rather them be bigger. And they didn't even do that on the card. If you look at the artwork on the card here, it takes up his whole chest. You look at the actual action feature section on the back of the card here, it takes up his whole chest. So from somewhere between the artwork and this figure, they decided to shrink it down. Why? I don't know. But other than that, like I said, I like the sculpts. They're very much, the bodies are very similar to the original releases of He Man and Skeletor from Wave 1. But what I think is cool is that not only are these guys their own action figure, but they're also kind of like an accessories pack for the original Wave 1 figures, because you get the extra heads here. So you can pop on a He Man head that looks more like the original He Man design, and the Skeletor that's sort of similar to the original Skeletor, except he doesn't have the green outline around his head. but we'll get more on that later. You know, you got this cool shield. You got gripping hands for the left hands now, so they can grip both their right and their left hands. And He-Man comes with this cool energy beam for his sword. So, let's talk about He-Man. So He-Man here looks pretty cool. I don't think it's... the color of his outfit doesn't necessarily match the original one. It's more orange, where this one is a little red-orange, reddish-orange. So it is a little different that way. If you look at Battle Armor He-Man here next to the brand new Wave 1 He-Man, you can see that like his boots, these stripes are actually colored. But most of the other, like this look appears a little darker, and this is like maybe a little more faint or something. But other than that, it's pretty similar. One thing I did notice right off the bat from these guys is these holes in the tops of their shoulders are a lot more in your face and noticeable. I don't know why that is, but those shoulder holes are huge. So, like I said, it's pretty cool because you got this action figure and you have 3 heads. So now you can switch out whichever head you want on whichever He-Man you want. And let's see here. This He-Man head looks really good. Like, it looks very similar to the original one. It's just that I think the way that they colored the old heads, they appeared to have maybe have a little bit of shading. I don't think mine is just dirty. I think it just kind of had a natural shaded appeal, where this kind of is just bright yellow. But face-wise, the head is very much that original He-Man head. So now you can pop this new head on your Wave 1 He-Man and make him look like the original He-Man. The He-Man we all grew up with. The action feature on the new He-Man is pretty stiff. It's not as easy to get to work. Like if you're tapping this with the sword here, it's not going to do anything. You actually have to push it in pretty far to get it to switch. And when you have to push it in pretty far when you're trying to roll it back into place. The original one was pretty, it worked very easily. So let's talk about articulation. He-Man here has a ball-jointed neck. He can only look up this far. He can look down this far. But his head can, turn all the way around and move from side to side. His shoulders here have a rotation, and they have a hinge here, so they can rotate out and around. He doesn't have a bicep cup, but he does have a swivel in his elbow, and he has a hinge in his elbow. He has rotation in his hands, and a hinge in his hand, or his wrist. Look at his hands. I didn't even notice that. Looks like somebody broke his fingers. He-Man didn't pay his debt money. They came and they put his hand in a vice. Same thing on the other side. His torso twists around at the waist. His legs are ball jointed, so you can rotate him out this direction. You can rotate him forward and back, but you can only go back so far before the loincloth, the hair diaper, stops him. His knees have a swivel, and they have the hinge joint, so you can turn them and whatnot. The cut at the top of the boot can swivel all the way around, and he's got ankle rockers, and he has a hinge for his ankles. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention He-Man's back. Alright, so here we go. That's He-Man's back. One cool addition to this He-Man, and look, if you look at the armor, it matches up almost exactly. But one of the cool new additions is they put this little slot here so that you can put his sword right in there. Very cool. Very nice. When it comes to accessories, He-Man here has got some pretty good ones. First, like I said before, you got the cool original He Man head. And, you know, you just gotta... Hopefully I don't knock my camera over. Oh, there we go. Just pull that head off. And you can see the little hole in there. And you got the ball joint right here. And pop that right in there. Pretty sweet. Now he looks just like the original. I'm seeing double. Next he's got the extra gripping hands. He's giving you the thumbs up with both hands now. You could pop that out. You see, that was very gentle, not like the head. Pop that in there, and you're good to go. And now he's got an axe, his battle axe, and his half of his sword of power. And it's cool now because he can actually hold both of them at the same time. I think that the no, it's very similar. The color of the axe here is different than the original one. It's brighter, shinier gray. Oh my gosh, He-Man lost his head. But the sword appears to be pretty much the same. So now he looks like he's ready to take out Skeletor. I mean, what's Skeletor going to do? He's got a staff. He can't attack him with a staff if he's got a sword and an axe at the same time. Finally, you have this cool power bolt. And you can just stick this onto the sword here. I don't know about this. I don't necessarily like this all that much. Like, it's a cool idea. I just maybe think it might not be executed the best. It's kind of too big, maybe. But what's cool is if you have both sides of the power sword, you can also put it on both of them. Pretty nifty, eh? No, I'm not from Canada, but I just said A. Alright, and what else? What else does good old He-Man come with? Well, he comes with a brand new Masters of the Universe mini-comic, Battle Armor Reborn. The artwork in this one is pretty nice. I like this. I didn't really get a chance to read the other ones, but this one looks pretty good. And Skeletor comes with this same exact comic book. And on the back, you get all these sweet toys that are going to be coming out later in the year. Personally, I'm really excited for Clamp Champ because I don't have an original Clamp Champ. So that'll be great. You're pretty much never going to get a He-Man toy based on the original toy line that's, you know, can hold his sword up in the air and be like, by the power of Grayskull. Just not going to happen. So now we have the might, the muscle, the menace of Skeletor. Wait, that's not how that goes, right? And, you know, this is pretty cool. I like it. I think it's a good upgrade in some ways. Like I said, I don't know why they make the logo so small on these. Like, if you look at this, you have this harness on the side of his chest, and the battle damage area makes up the whole inside of that. And for whatever reason, they have this little tiny lip between the harness and, you know, the logo. I kind of don't think it looks as photogenic or something, you know, like something's a little off. You know, when you, like I said, with the, just like He-Man, this is its own figure and kind of like an accessories pack, because now you can put this head on your Skeletor, or you can put this brand new head on your Skeletor. And this Skeletor, to me, this head looks kind of like the original head, but it's still very different. The eyes are different, and the green is just very light on this. It's mostly just a yellow face. Same thing with this one. Some of the colors here are a little brighter on this guy, like his little armor and his legs. They're brighter than this one. This one's a little more dark purple. But, you know, It's pretty cool. I like having all these options of heads for Skeletor, though I don't necessarily think that this is the best head for Skeletor. It kind of just looks kind of weird having this skeleton face, this skull face frowning at you. So let's get into a little more deeper about the figure. Oh, well, I guess I might as well show the back here. What is cool about this Skeletor figure is he's got a little tiny spot here for his sword. I think that's cool. I always try to stick... This is a Shredder cape from the old Turtles cartoon. I always stick my sword in the back of his harness like that. Makes him look real cool. But you know, it's pretty nice so far. So the sculpt on him looks pretty nice. It's nice and clean, and the paint actually looks really good on both of these guys. I gotta say, there was a while there when I was looking at, you know, figure after figure from Wave 1, just not being able to find any good figures with paint. You know, there was always just like some kind of weird slop on the face or something else. But these actually look pretty good. And again, his action feature, you really got to shove that in there. And I don't know, his gets a little stuck at the bottom too. So, let's see. Again, those holes at the tops of his shoulders are just gigantic. And the original Skeletor is not like that. It's kind of hard to see it because of his armor here, but you have a lot more area covered up. And you still have the same amount of articulation that this guy has. So what happened there? So when it comes to articulation, he's got the exact same stuff that He Man's got. He's got his head rotates up that far. His head rotates down this far. You can twist his head all the way around. You can tilt it from side to side. His shoulders have rotation and a hinge. I always love this color blue. Like this is, I feel like, I don't know if it's like baby blue or something, but it's like this is the blue of my childhood. This is like Skeletor blue and the blue sheep or ram from Battle Beasts and stuff like that. So his arms, his elbows swivel around. He's got the hinge in his elbow. His wrists swivel around. He's got the hinge in his wrist. He can rotate at the waist. He has no spring-loaded action. He has ball joints in his hips, so they can rotate forward, back, and to the side. Same deal with his knees. They rotate, and they got a hinge in them. Top of the boot is cut, so that can rotate around. He's got a hinge in his ankle, and he's got ankle rockers. Standard He-Man, Masters of the Universe Origins, articulation, and it all works really good. It's not stiff at all. It's not too loose. It's perfect for how you would want it to be. And now we get to talk about Skeletor's accessories. Just like He-Man, Skeletor here comes with an extra head. And again, I cannot hold their heads in place without dropping them. Like I said, I think that this head kind of it's closer to the original Skeletor head because Wave 1 Skeletor head is yelling. So like you just have a regular blank-faced Skeletor head. You know, the biggest difference is that it's just a little different. It's a little off. The eyes aren't as big. You know, the paint is different. There's obviously some green here around the head, but the line just is not... The green is just not painted as dark as the original toys appeared. So I guess it's almost more like a Filmation Skeletor head where it's just almost completely all yellow. And out of these two heads, like I said before, I prefer this one. But you know, you can just pop the head off pretty easily. Well, we'll see. Oh my gosh. Almost knocking everything over. For the benefit of the viewer. Let's try to get that in there. Cannot. Oh my gosh. No sound, just like He-Man, but it's in there, I think. Then you got an extra hand, so he can have grasping hands on both sides. There we go. Pulling these out is a little harder than I thought. So this is cool too, because now you can actually have him holding his staff with two hands. Lots of times you can't do that with Skeletor. Maybe you can't on this, even with two hands. Let's see. You kind of get like a little bit of a bend in the middle of it because it's so... There we go. There! We got it, man! Two hands holding the staff. It's been what, almost 40 years, and now we can finally have him hold it with two hands. Bzzz. Die, He Man! So you got that. You got his half of the power sword. It's pretty nice. I always like his purple colored stuff. And like I showed, you can put it with the... you can mix it with He-Man's half of his power sword. And now you got a cool Skeletor shield. Now, I don't remember if Skeletor ever had a shield in the cartoon. I've watched the cartoon fairly recently, but I don't remember ever seeing him wearing having a shield. But it's just cool because, of course, I don't have it here. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Now, like I said, I don't remember Skeletor ever having a shield. I don't remember if I didn't buy too many, hardly any, of the Masters of the Universe Classics toys. I don't know if they ever give him a shield in that, but now, for the first time that I'm aware of, you have a shield for Skeletor to block He-Man's sword, and it's built just like this other one too. Same kind of mechanism or, grip to put it on his arm. And it's just cool. I love the skeleton face, the skull face there. I like the little dots. It's a nice little opposite to He-Man's shield. And if you're trying to put that on there, you could just put that in his fingers and then clip it onto the bicep there. Oh. Ooh, actually. You can only go so far with the shield on Skeletor's wrist here, or bicep here, his forearm, because this this spike or whatever it is blocks it from. You can't rotate it any more than this. So you can only have him hold the shield in this manner. That's kind of not the best. It's kind of goofy. Like you kind of want him to be able to hold it completely straight like that, but then you can't clip it onto his arm. I've always been a huge fan of He-Man, so I just think it's really exciting that Mattel is giving us this cool extension of the original toy line. I can't wait to get more figures of characters that I don't have, and I can't wait to get, hopefully, figures that have never been made before. That's what I'm really hoping for. But, until then, I really like these battle armor He-Man and Skeletor figures. Like I said, I think the emblems or the actual points there, their battle damage areas, could be bigger. I think that would be really great. Like, they would almost be perfect if you had that. But what can you do? So, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and see you later.